An elite wide receiver is visiting Syracuse next weekend. Can they get him?
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Of course, we're always free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And on today's mini podcast, we are joined by Locked On Portal podcast host, recruiting expert, also the host of Locked On Florida State Seminoles. That's right, Brian Smith. And the reason why Brian Smith is on the podcast today is, of course, to talk about some Syracuse football recruiting, because the Orange have an elite wide receiver in the class of 2027 visiting campus next weekend when Syracuse takes on the Panthers. Khalil Taylor, on 3 and 24/7 Sports, top 60 player in the nation. That's right, Syracuse and Fran Brown pursuing another elite wide receiver. So, Brian, you've seen Khalil Taylor before. What is the scouting report on him?
Speed. He runs by guys. He's, from a comparative standpoint, Jonte Cook kind of player, somebody that wants to get by you, 5'11", 6 foot. He's put together, but he's got room to add weight, 180, 185 pounds, would be my guess from seeing him live. And he just runs by guys. I saw him at the Under Armour Future 50 event, which is the top 50 to 100 players in the country they pull from for 50 kids. And there were a handful of DBs there that are just locks to be NFL player. He ran by some of those guys. So he is a deep threat. He's twitchy. He's a kid that could play corner. He could play running back, whatever you wanted. He's just a tremendous athlete. But like watching him run, he has to have some kind of track background or something. He's so naturally fluid in and out of his breaks. I mean, he'll need to learn more about route running like all young guys do, but he can do it wrong and still score because he runs by you. That's a home run threat.
It's funny that you mentioned Jonte Cook, because I think this next question is going to relate to him. What do you think Syracuse needs to show this weekend when they take on Pitt for it to be a successful visit with Khalil Taylor?
Balance. Pittsburgh is one of the most annoying teams to play from a coaching standpoint because they blitz on almost every down. And if you don't have an elite offensive line, which that's not Syracuse's strength, it's, they're okay, it can go sideways. So can you find ways to screen? Can you run, et cetera, to set up those big plays? Because you're not going to just sit back in the pocket and let guys run deep routes. That's what Taylor does best. You're going to have to mix it up. I'll be curious to see what their game plan is, setting up the shorter passes to get the ball out and let those guys work, because that's the other thing Taylor can do. He can make guys miss space, really quick feet. So he'll probably want to try to envision himself in that. When they're not throwing deep, how would they use me? And I get Pittsburgh blitz a lot. They're a man coverage team a lot of the time, or use cover 4, which basically turns into man. There'll be some 50-50 balls. I'm sure the Syracuse is going to throw up. But how do they handle the pressure and get the ball out quick?
This episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is, well, you got to go back actually to last weekend, since Syracuse was on bye for this week, and that safety in the fourth quarter somewhat got Syracuse back in the game. And when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put up organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. This is Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. We are joined by Brian Smith, host of the Locked On Portal podcast and Locked On's very own recruiting expert. We are talking about an elite wide receiver in the class of 2027 visiting campus this upcoming weekend. Of course, I am referring to Khalil Taylor. Now, for some more background on Khalil Taylor, he actually recently decommitted from Penn State, which, oh boy, Penn State, they are in a they're in the bad place right now. Penn State, they are a terrible, no good, very bad program right now. Regardless, Brian, with Khalil Taylor, where do you think Syracuse stacks up in the race for him? Obviously, there's a lot of tough competition out there for him.
Well, this is a recruitment that'll go for over another year. Like, even if he committed again somewhere, he's an elite recruit, as I've always told you. Those kids may commit, but it's just a lean. He's from the Pittsburgh area, so that's the connection to Penn State. They get most of the really good players out of that area. But Ohio State, Notre Dame, Florida State, like schools all across the country are trying to get him on campus. He's going to take visits. I just thought it was interesting that Syracuse got him set up for the Pitt visit. That's quick. That's a good sign. They're in the upper echelon, but I think he's probably still in a little bit of shock about how bad Penn State is. So his recruitment is essentially starting all over. I have no idea where he's going to go, and I don't think Khalil Taylor knows where he's going to go. Penn State probably isn't going to be the final destination, though. That's the main thing. Getting him out of PA, that's always the hardest thing. But right now, I think Penn State, I actually put out a post on this on all social media about Penn State's going to lose more kids because they're just no fun to watch. If you're an offensive recruit, why would you sign up for that? So, and 27 is a really good year in Pennsylvania. Some of those kids are probably going to leave. Syracuse is as good an option as any, and it's an Eastern school. They always recruit PA. They got other players from the state. I mean, I know that everybody says, oh, he'll just go to Ohio State. Not everybody can go there, and not everybody wants to wait their turn 2 or 3 years to play. So at Syracuse, he would have much better chance of playing really early. So I would not be surprised at all if Khalil Taylor ended up with Fran Brown in the orange.
Well, for Khalil Taylor, I have good news for him, which it starts on a more somber note, but it's actually pretty good for him since he's in the class of 2027. If he were to play as a true freshman, Steve Angeli actually will most likely have eligibility for that year because he suffered the torn Achilles so early in the season. He is eligible to apply for a medical red shirt. So therefore, he will have eligibility for 2026. We already knew that, but also possibly for 2027 as well. In fact, it's actually pretty likely he will be able to play in 2027. That means Steve Angeli could be the quarterback for Khalil Taylor if he were to commit to Syracuse and play as a true freshman in 2027. Brian, how much do you think the Calvin Russell commitment for Syracuse is impacting their ability to maybe get in the race for a guy like Khalil Taylor?
I think it opened the door. Hey, if this guy down here from Miami Northwestern with offers from Florida State, every school in the South, basically, Miami, obviously, if he's willing to go to Syracuse, what is going on there? It'll at least shine light on the opportunity to go join Fran Brown's crew. And they throw it around. I mean, they did last year. They do it this year. So especially wide receivers, it's just attractive. I think they need to show out more on defense if they want to be more well-balanced, but defense is more about recruiting. It's chicken and the egg. So I'm curious to see how many more guys take visits, not just 26 kids, but 27 like Khalil, 28, etc. Because they're starting to trend for some younger players now. They're starting to get involved with those. You see them mentioned more. Syracuse has the attention of players around the country, again, especially offense, and that's understandable. But it's not just offense. Like they're starting to get attention from other people because relationships are still what recruiting is about. Fran and that entire staff, back office, etc., do a tremendous job. of getting kids on campus. So Calvin was just the beginning, but I think that's a small part of it because there's kids all over New Jersey, Texas, etc. They've had kids visit in the last year or so. Calvin's just one of them. So it's an awesome thing for the Qs, but I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. Fran really enjoys recruiting, and he makes his guys recruit. He holds them accountable. So you're going to see more of that.
And to your point about that, I think pre-Calvin Russell commitment, even in the Fran Brown era, when Syracuse would get an elite visitor on campus, because they would get some elite visitors on campus. I remember last year they got Javion Hilson on campus, a 5-star edge rusher. I never had that sense that they're actually going to get him. I thought it was an achievement in of itself just to be able to get a kid like him on campus. But once you get a guy like Calvin Russell, you kind of open up the floodgates a little bit and you start giving people hope that, oh, when you actually get these kids on campus, now Syracuse actually has a legitimate chance to land a commitment, not just get him on campus. Brian, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just think this is a recruitment you just got to monitor. Again, Khalil Taylor could have visited anywhere after he decommitted. He picked Syracuse. That's worth noting.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much. And where can people find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me at FBScout_Florida, and you can find the Locked On the Portal podcast wherever you get the same thing here at Locked On Syracuse, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and everywhere else.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like Locked On Syracuse, be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoy the podcast, be sure to hit subscribe. Tell all your friends about Locked On Syracuse, and we'll see you all again soon.